What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It is a beautiful fall day here in Findlay, Ohio, and I'm hanging out in the beer shed getting ready to check out a new beer. Now, the one I have today is called Dortmunder Gold Lager, and this is from Great Lakes Brewing out of the land, Cleveland, Ohio. Now, full disclosure, this is not a new beer to me. I've had this a lot of times over the years, but this is new to the video because I've never done one on this, and I don't know how. I think sometimes I overlook Great Lakes Brewing because they're literally everywhere in Ohio, and to me they're almost like macro-esque at this point. You know, like back in the day, Yuengling used to be a regional beer, so back in the 90s when I went to college at Kutztown, it's only about an hour or so outside of Philly, you could get Yuengling everywhere and it was dirt cheap. I think it was slightly more than Milwaukee's Best if you were buying it back then. Even in Philly you couldn't get it. Now obviously it's everywhere now and almost, I think it's nationwide, if not close to nationwide now. I feel like Great Lakes is going to be the next brewery to do that. They started off as a really good Cleveland brewery, kind of blew up and were all over the state and the region, and now I'm not sure how big their reach is, but they're blowing up. So maybe I overlooked them, and it's time to go back in and dial in on this one here. So this is 5.8% ABV. Does very good on all the socials. 3.56 on Untappd with 110,000 check-ins. So that's a pretty good sample size. Beer Advocate does even better, 4.06, and gets a 91 outstanding. So like I said, 5.8% ABV, 30 IBUs. Let's give it a shot. First, I'll go in for the look. So this is crystal clear. You can see straight through this. I got a few stray bubbles in there. Carbonation is, I'd say mild. It's not overly carbonated. Sometimes you open up a beer and it just looks like champagne bubbles. Here you got a few floating around. They're not small either. Decent sized bubbles, but not a ton. Color, if I bring out the Brew HQ chart, maybe like a 6 or 7. It's a nice gold color, but like a lighter gold color. Head, I probably had a finger's worth of this white head. It's got tons of tiny little bubbles in the head up here, a bit thin, and it is kind of dissipated. But it looks all right. It's still there. It's just not a very robust head. Let's give it a sniff. Smells not overwhelming. I have to just say it smells like beer. It's light. It has a light malty smell and probably not a whole heck of a lot more. Inoffensive, inviting, it's all right. The nose is nice. Now, I think when I read on I think it was Beer Advocate had this, it said this is a 16-time medal-winning beer, and I think it won the gold medal in 1990. I don't know if it was the Great American Beer Fest or one of the U.S. Beer Fest, one of the big ones. It won a gold medal, so this is one gold, silver, and bronzes over the years, so obviously a pretty good representation of the style. And I got my Liney's glass here. Absolutely love that glass. It's got the Chippewa, the Indian guy there, Line & Kugel's Lager. Pretty classic glass. I think I picked this up at a antique store for a couple bucks. Yeah, nice smell. Let's give it a shot. We'll go in. Cheers. Body, medium. Got a nice body to it. Flavors, I can see why this won a gold medal. And like I said, this is something that I do drink on occasion. Usually, I try to get craft beers. I'm always trying to get new check-ins, but can't always afford that, especially with the economy the way it is right now. So sometimes I'll just go for a little bit cheaper beers where you can get, more bang for your buck. And usually you can get a 12-pack of this or a 15-pack maybe. I'm not sure. I think this one comes in a 15-pack for about $17. So sometimes I'll go back and forth between, I think it's Rheingeist does the Cincy Light, which is tied to University of Cincinnati, and try to watch a few calories. I'll drink that. But this is another really good one for the price. And then Columbus Brewing does Columbus Lager. So sometimes I'll rotate between them for basically just like house beers. So like, I'll tell you, last night I had a friend over, my neighbor, had a fire out back and I was chilling. We had some beers and I think he was drinking Coors Originals and I had, I don't even know what I had, a couple of different things that were in the fridge. So a lot of times I'll buy 4-packs or 6-packs for videos. I'll drink 1 or 2 of them, save one for a video, maybe save one for the Yeti or send it to a friend. But I wind up with these like weird assortment of random beers, like 1 or 2 each. But they're usually things that are more video worthy and I drink those. But I do understand that not everybody wants to drink kind of weird beers. So you got to have some just kind of house beers on hand. And this is one of the things I like as kind of a house beer because it's Decent taste, inoffensive. If you have people over that aren't craft beer folks, they'll still like it. So pretty solid beer. As to the taste, what do you get? I think you definitely get some sweet malt, which is nice, but it's not overly sweet that it's distracting or cloying. You have a nice little dry hop finish on it, which kind of counterbalances that sweetness, and that's about it. It's a relatively clean beer. I think at the end it's a little bit dry, but it's pretty solid. I like it. It reminds me of, I mean, obviously it says Dortmunder Gold, like Dortmund, Germany, but it does remind me of a lot of German beers that are kind of lighter, a little easier to drink, something that isn't really going to mess with your stomach, or if you drink it with something else, it's not going to be like you mix too many styles together and the next day you're regretting it. This is a solid sessionable beer, 5.8%, so decent ABV on it. Not so much you're going to get mangled, but it's not a light beer, so I think if you're looking for something that's just kind of a sessionable house beer, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this. I enjoy this, and somehow I've overlooked it for a video. I mean, what are we going? I started this channel in July of 2020, and we've just passed, it's October of 2024, so 4 years, and I haven't done this. And I think to myself, what was I thinking? They do so many good beers at Great Lakes. Maybe it's time to revisit some of them. I'm not sure if I've ever did Edmund Fitzgerald, the Porter. I quite like that. If I didn't do a video on that, maybe I'll do that soon, because these guys need to get a little bit of recognition. I think sometimes we sleep on the breweries you see everywhere, but it doesn't mean that they're not good still, right? It's just that we're like Pokemon hunters trying to find a new and different one every day. Like I want to check into a new beer every day for the rest of my life, but you also need some like go-to favorites. And I think this probably falls in that category. So, you get a nice sweet backbone on this. You get that like dry hoppy kind of finish, which provides a counterbalance to the sweetness. It's not super hoppy, but it's just hoppy enough that you can pick up the bitterness against the sweetness. Sessionable, decent ABV. There's nothing wrong with this. A little bit dry, a little bit crisp, solid beer. I enjoy it. I could drink this all day. If I was at a football game, I could put all of these away. So big thumbs up for me for the beer. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, if you've got any comments or questions, jump in down below. Have you had Dortmunder Gold? 110,000 people have, so there's probably a good chance that you did. The one thing I do want to know is if you have had Dortmunder Gold, or if you can get Great Lakes Brewing, the one out of Cleveland, not the Canadian one. There's also a Canadian one called, I think it's Great Lakes Brewery or something. It's a very similar name. If you can get this, let me know what state you live in, because I'd love to know what the distribution is. I'm pretty sure you can get this in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, kind of in this area. But I don't know. Do they get to California or Florida or other states down there in Georgia with Brian the Beer Snob and them dudes? Let me know if you guys find this stuff where you live, because I'm interested to know what the distribution range is for Great Lakes Brewing. Hey, till next time, cheers.